把一个最简单的东西练到极致，那就是中国功夫，那就是功夫。OK。
Before I start with the topic, I would like to say sorry to all the practitioners out there who are practicing very hard on their stuff and maybe get offended by this video. The majority of Chinese martial arts practitioners are practicing forms, Taolu or kata, or how you like to call it. It's actually not just a little part of their practice, it's mostly the main part of it. And today I like to talk about, is it useful to practice in that way, or should we overthink it? What are forms actually? Forms are actually choreographies filled with technique sequences. And for your better understanding of it, I will show you some of mine. For those who don't know me, I'm practicing a wear style called Ziramen. It's from northeast China, but I also have a background in Mantis and Tongbei boxing. And those forms you watched right now, I actually never learned. I just copied them out of YouTube, and because I thought it's nice. Okay, I put my own flavor in it, but in the end, I never learned them. I just interpreted everything. And why do I tell you that? Because if I wouldn't give you this information, you maybe would not see the difference. Maybe some of you would now say, oh yes, or now I can see that there's no skill behind or whatever. But what I want to point out with that is that with a little bit talent in moving, everyone can learn such a form in 4 hours and will feel like a master. Do I want to say that forms are useless? No, I don't want to say that. Do I want to say that focusing on performing a form, even with applications, is useless? Yes. Let's compare forms with math books. If you open page 25, there will be maybe a chapter about multiplication. There will be written a lot about what multiplication is, why, how and when to use it, and 2 or 3 simple calculation examples like 2 times 3 equals 6. But the point is you are going to understand how it works, and with more and more practice you can change the numbers how you like. If I transfer this now into forms, then it would be like we totally overjump the whole part of why, when and how, and just go over to the reciting part. 2 times 3 equals 6, and we do that the whole time, and then we jump to the next page and just recite. And if you do that in that way, then you don't have to wonder about the result. Let's take a look at the most famous form in Chinese martial arts, in my opinion. It's the Yang Tai Chi 24 frames or pictures form. So you can run that Taolu as much as you want, as deep as you want, and you can imagine that your health will get better every time you run it. Or you can see every frame as a system for itself. You can start simple and try to find out where the power is actually coming from. Then you can start to think about when, how and why to use it. then you can see, okay, how much variations are actually possible out of that. And you can go on this. So, but this is not done by repeating it for some hours or weeks. This will take its time. And if you think one day, okay, you got the idea and you can move on to the next one, and so on and so on and so on. But this will take much longer time than just learning a form and run it down. But I promise you that the benefits are worth it. I, for myself, I practice in that way. Okay, I don't practice the specific form, the Taiji 24, but I can say that there are a lot of similarities, and not just because this is Taiji, but if you walk that path, you will see less diversity in Chinese martial arts and much more similarities between them. And I think for myself, it's not because the founders of the styles thought that they have to make a different style. I think that the main spirit behind founding a style or practicing itself is that you are using your possibilities not of your given system, but of your human body. And you have 2 arms, and if you're lucky, you have 2 legs and a head, and you do the best out of it. I deeply believe that all great martial artists in the past practiced somehow in that way and assembled those forms out of their knowledge and skill. And if you practice forms, just think about it and see them as math books, where you learn to deal with numbers by understanding and applying the principles and methods. In my opinion, it's a waste of time to think so much about styles and diversity. I think it's much more important to understand, not just to see the similarities, but also to understand them and to see what your body is actually capable of. And if you see that from that perspective, I think that your view on Chinese martial arts, or maybe on martial arts itself, will change. So I hope you liked that video, and see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. And one more information, I have a lot of videos for my Patreons, and if you like to become a Patreon, you will have access to some martial arts advice videos. It's not online coaching, but there are some pretty good stuff online from me and from my teacher. So if you like to see that, just click on the link below and become a Patreon.
你不管八卦也好，它要主要是肢体练，你要把身体、把你的心放平了，放静了。你要练出呢，松、静、通、空这4个字，你必须得练。你把身体松开，皮、肉、骨、筋松开 ，OK 了。